Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you to everyone for joining our financial results presentation for the fiscal year ending December 2023. In today's presentation, from slide 2, we will go over an outline of the fiscal 2023 financial results. We will then touch on some of the key topics for 2023 and achievements for 2023, and then proceed to discuss our future outlook for the business before finally moving to a Q&A session following the presentation. Initially on slide 4, overviews of the performance of the business for the fiscal year 2023. As is shown in the middle of the column, we had revenue of 28.7 billion yen for the fiscal year, with EBITDA at 90 billion yen, core operating profit at 71 billion yen, operating profit at 67 billion yen, and a net income of 30 billion yen. We just missed our guidance for the year at 30 billion yen, as we had a few events or milestones that we anticipated to happen in 2023, which have slipped into 2024. However, we were able to achieve or surpass guidance on core operating profit, and net income for the fiscal year. In addition to that, we had actually a large gain in our comprehensive income at 87 billion yen, largely in part due to shares, the selling of shares of Reid in their IPO in September of 23. And then also the BMS announced tender offer for Reid in December of 2023, which we'll touch on further. On the next slide, in regards to performance of PeptiDream, we finished the year with 12.7 billion yen in revenue. We had a large new RI-PDC-focused collaboration announced with Genentech. We also had a protein degraders collaboration announced with Astellas and a couple of other related payments. In addition to a number of milestone fees or milestones that were achieved, one of the major ones was actually an RI-PDC milestone with Novartis. And then, of course, we had other R&D funding components to this, which all contributed to the revenue for PeptiDream in the current fiscal year. Heading to the next slide. For PDO Radio-pharma, the Radio-pharma business had a combined revenue of 16 billion yen for the fiscal year. It was actually the second consecutive profitable year for the Radio-pharma business since we've acquired the company, which I think is fantastic. There remains some kind of demand headwinds. The number of imaging testing has not yet fully returned to pre-COVID levels, but we anticipate that slowly improving here in the coming months. We saw an expansion of existing products. We had 2 label expansions that happened in 2023. In the current roster of products, we were able to increase market share for a couple of those products and expand sales for a couple of those products. So the current product portfolio of the Radio-pharma business, I think, is in very good shape. We additionally made good progress, of course, with our imaging agent for Tauvid, the Alzheimer's imaging agent for Tauvid, which I'll touch on further. In regards to our balance sheet, the ratio of equity attributable to owners of the parent company, we actually saw improvement from 50% in the close of December 2022 to 58% in December of 23. We're aiming in the short term to improve this further in 2024 with the aim of getting this back into the 70 to 80% range over the relative midterm here. In addition to that, I think one of the large achievements is we're aiming this year to become net debt negative by having more cash on hand than we actually have as far as our debt liabilities, which I think is a significant positive for the company. Moving forward to the cash flow, we ended the 2022 fiscal year with 5.2 billion yen in cash, and we ended 2023 with 19.5 billion yen in cash. So really a significant improvement in our cash position at the end of 2023. This was in large part due to the deals we signed with Merck or MSD and Eli Lilly at the end of December 2022. And also we had roughly a 3 billion yen inflow from the selling of Reid Bio shares at their IPO, which also contributed significantly to this cash position. And as everyone is aware, as I mentioned, we're also expecting with the acquisition of Reid Bio by BMS, once that closes, to roughly attain or receive another 10 billion yen, roughly speaking, from that acquisition, which will put us, I think, early here in the first quarter, second quarter, of having 30 billion yen or more cash on hand. So an extremely strong cash position for the company here in 2024. Some of the key topics that I'm going to touch on slide 10 is we've now organized the business really into the radio-pharmaceutical and the non-radio-pharmaceutical businesses after the acquisition of PDR-Radio-Pharma. So in the subsequent slides, I'll touch on the key progress, some of the key progress points in regards to the radio-pharmaceutical business and our efforts, and also update some of the pipeline achievements or progress that was made in the fiscal 2023 year. And then I'll touch on what does 2024 look like, 2024 and beyond look like for our radio-pharmaceutical business. On the non-radio-pharmaceutical side, which is now grouping together our peptide therapeutic efforts, our other PDC efforts, so the oligo peptide drug conjugates, the cytotoxic peptide drug conjugates, our multifunctional peptide conjugate programs and small molecule conjugate programs, all being now organized just in the non-radio-pharmaceutical business. We'll touch on some of the key progresses that were made and updates on the pipeline that happened in 2023, and then also, again, provide what does 2024 and beyond look like for that business segment. As everyone might have seen, now that we've released our quarterly report, our Tanshin, we've made a significant revision to the format of our Tanshin. And going forward, as this Tanshin or this quarterly report is much more focused now on our clinical stage programs and trying to be, of course, as transparent as possible, since those are the real value drivers of the company as we are going forward. So on slide 11, this slide highlights some of the key progress and achievements that occurred in the radiopharmaceutical business in 2023. The first is we had two programs that were actually elected as development candidates, the Reid Bio program, which we're very excited about for GPC3 and hepatocellular carcinoma, was nominated as a clinical candidate, had initiated IND-enabling studies, and actually had moved into human phase 0 imaging studies, which have been underway since March of 2023. We also announced our first fully owned in-house RI-PDC program targeting CA9 for renal cell carcinoma, a program that we're very excited about here, and we think is going to be the first of many. We also, in the second, we saw indication expansion for actually a couple of compounds, but in the current existing portfolio. But one of the major ones was the Emivid kit, which is the PET imaging agent for Alzheimer's disease, which of course we're expecting the market for this product to grow going forward with the approval and launch of lecanemab here in Japan. And this also, the Emivid project also received insurance coverage in December of 2023, which should be extremely helpful for the product to further grow here going forward. In the third bullet point, we achieved a large milestone in the collaboration with Novartis. It's the first program originating from that collaboration, which started in 2019, to actually enter IND-enabling studies, which we announced in October 2023. And so very much looking forward to that program moving forward. And again, we think this is going to be the first of many to come out of that collaboration going forward. We also announced, of course, as I mentioned, a new collaboration with Genentech in RI-PDCs in September of 2023. I think one of the highlights of that deal was, one, the significant financials associated with it, but also the ability that we were able to retain Japan rights to those programs, which is going to be an important, we believe, contributor to our overall radio-pharm success in radio-pharm business growth. And lastly, of course, is BMS's acquisition of Reid Bio, which is very interesting that has happened. We actually had expected, I think, largely that Reid Bio was certainly an acquisition target, as a number of large pharmaceutical companies are now moving into the radio-pharm space over the last couple of years. So it's become a very exciting time in the radiopharmaceutical space. And I think this really validates our acquisition of PDR-Radio-Pharma and our belief in investments in our RI-PDC efforts. So extremely bullish on the progress and future of the radio-pharm business, not only here in Japan, but also globally. In regards to the pipeline, our radio-pharm pipeline, going from the top to the bottom, in December of 2023, we actually announced a partnership with LinkMed, highlighted here as LM in the upper right there, for their copper-64 ATSM product, which is a small molecule compound potentially used here for malignant brain tumors. It's been in a phase 1 study, which is going to be reporting here in early 2024, with that program slated to move forward. I'll touch on that in a subsequent slide. But very excited about this program, and I'm very excited about the partnership with LinkMed to bring this product to market here in Japan. We also made advances, as I mentioned, with the Glypican-3 project, which had gone into phase 0 studies in 2023. Again, also the CA9 project that we announced for renal cell carcinoma, our fully owned project, which is now progressing to P0 studies. And then also what is not disclosed is the Novartis project, which the target of that has not been disclosed, but that's also for solid tumors, also moving into IND-enabling studies in 2023. So really significant progress, I think, in us filling out our radio-pharm pipeline and what this is going to look like. And I'm expecting more additions to this here in 2024. On the imaging aspects of the PET and SPECT business, on the PET side, we will, once the TALVID kit is approved, we'll have the two, I'd like to think, two most exciting products for the imaging of Alzheimer's disease here on the market in Japan. And that had been, the TALVID kit was partnered, of course, also with Lilly, as is the Amyvid kit, and is moving forward toward product launch here in Japan. So excited to see how this will go. And then the SPECT business, of course, we've stabilized revenue in the SPECT business, I think, to a large extent. And we had label expansions for both the Tecne type product and the MyoMIBG products here, which are important for maintaining the products and sales of those existing business. Looking forward to this year, 2024, and into 2025 in the future. For the ATSM project, as I mentioned, we're actually expecting that as it completes the phase 1 study, we'll be heading forward into a actual phase 3 or a pivotal registrational study here in 2024. So this actually will represent a very nice product potentially in our lineup here, and that could be a good revenue contributor for us in the relative medium term here. And then again, I think the three big additions of 2023 were the Glypican-3 project, the CA9 project, and this undisclosed project with Novartis, which we're expecting to move forward here. Additionally, the ATSM project, which was basically a licensed-in or a partnered product, we also have a number of activities ongoing to bring other late-stage clinical programs that are happening outside of Japan into the Japan market. And so here in 2024, we're anticipating the announcement of adding additional in-licensed or partnered programs to our pipeline, which I think will be extremely positive overall. In the imaging space, also in the PET imaging and SPECT imaging, also can we continue to expand the existing product portfolio that we have with new formulations and continue investigating potential label expansions of various products. And also on the PET imaging, we have some additional diagnostic agents that we are likely to license in or anticipate licensing in to the Japan market in 2024 and beyond. So it's really quite an exciting time, I think, not only for our collaboration programs to see them advancing into the clinical stage, but also our ability to actually partner and in-license other existing compounds to supplement our portfolio and really grow the radiopharm business in Japan. I think we've made exceptional progress on that in 2023, and I think it's going to be even better here in 2024. So how do we envision the sales of these advances contributing to, of course, the sales of the business as growth drivers? Largely, I think, as everyone is aware, the existing products are largely diagnostics that we have. We continue to, of course, work on formulation and indication expansion, as I mentioned, but you would expect that those are only going to see maybe marginal growth here over time. Now with the Amyvid and the approval of Locanemab, and then also with the anticipated approval of the Tau PET imaging product, we anticipate that both of these products will also contribute to revenue growth for the radiopharm business over both the short, medium, and long term. And then one of the largest, or the largest growth driver for the radiopharm business, of course, is going to be around the cancer therapeutics, or cancer therapeutics plus their companion diagnostics, so theranostics in this case. And as we've mentioned, both, as listed on the right there, are some of the key products that are currently that we've announced, but I think there's going to be a number of other announcements here coming that will be quite positive as we really build out, again, our radiopharmaceutical pipeline, and that becomes quite clear to the market of our growth trajectory. So on the next slide is just some of the strategic directions that we continue to focus on in the radiopharmaceutical space here. One is, of course, putting together a very highly competitive pipeline. We have the goal of being the top radiopharmaceutical company in Japan, and I'm very confident that we will deliver on that. We are actively, of course, investing in one is our own commercial programs or our own programs, in addition to our collaboration partner programs, and also, of course, actively looking for other assets to bring from outside Japan into the Japan market. On the right side, the ligand technologies, of course, peptides are clearly becoming one of the ideal ways, if not the ideal way, to target and deliver these radioisotope payloads. That has been largely kind of stated by Novartis as one of the biggest fans of using peptides to do this. We're also seeing that with Genentech, with Lilly, and with a number of other companies in this space. And so clearly we're on the right track there. And we have what we believe is, of course, the strongest ligand discovery platform or peptide discovery platform to find these targeting vectors for these products. So that gives us an extremely advantageous market position in this growing radiopharmaceutical sector. We're also working, of course, on access to radioisotopes. So everyone might be aware of lutetium-177 or actinium-225 as being the kind of main, maybe common core therapeutic radioisotopes. And in the past, those radioisotopes had certain supply constraints, but those aspects and issues here in 2024 and 2025, I think are moving toward being largely resolved with a significant amount of supply capacity coming online in the second half of 24 and certainly in 2025 from just a variety of vendors and suppliers out there. And so we can continue to work hard to put in place the supply agreements so that we are ideally positioned for whatever radioisotope we will need to incorporate in our product portfolio. And of course, we, again, mentioned, continue to look to oversee as we grow the radio-pharm business, not only here in Japan, to potentially for expansion into other adjacent Asian countries by supplying products to those countries is also on the radar for us as we build out the business further in Japan here. In the non-radio-pharmaceutical side of the business, as far as highlights in 2023, was a great year in regards. We had 2 new programs enter the clinic. Amylite took our AZP3813, which was a macrocyclic GHR antagonist peptide that we had discovered, that we licensed to them. They took this into a phase 1 study in June of 2023. MSD, which is Merck, US Merck, but outside Japan, they're referred to as MSD, also initiated a phase 1 trial of a macrocyclic peptide that was discovered using our PDPS technology from the license agreement here in 2023 also. So we saw additional programs move into phase 1 or initiate phase 1 studies. We had a number of milestones actually across the, say, preclinical development pipeline in 2023, of which we've highlighted here 4 of them, which we were able to make press releases. We had a number of other milestones that were achieved that we were not able to make press releases for due to the constraints of some of the collaboration agreements we have. But Santen achieved a lead criteria milestone for an MPC program that we have going on with them. Bayer also achieved lead criteria milestone in one of the key programs that we have with them. And Janssen announced a hit criteria being met here in December of 2023 and also achieved a lead criteria with Polar. We had 2 new collaborations announced in 2023. In early 2023, we announced a new research collaboration, multi-target research collaboration with Ono Pharmaceutical. They had already previously licensed our PDPS technology prior to this deal. So this was a very nice expansion of our relationship with Ono Pharmaceutical. And then we also added a relationship with Astellas here in July of 2023, looking at using macrocyclic peptides in the context of targeted protein degraders. So a very interesting space for us to also expand into and add Astellas to our roster of exciting partners. Modulus, one of our strategic partners, we had the selection of a clinical candidate from that strategic relationship, which is actually a small molecule compound that was enabled from the discovery of macrocyclic peptides we found against the KIT target, which is a kinase, which potentially has indications in the immunoinflammatory disease space. Was a very nice achievement. And then lastly is growing our myostatin program. I think the myostatin inhibitor space has significantly grown in the last year plus, in part because of the success of the GLP-1 agonists and dual agonist compounds and their use in obesity. And one of the challenges of those compounds, or I guess one of the limitations of those compounds, is the loss, not only in fat that they induce, but also the loss in lean muscle, to which myostatin inhibitors potentially protect against. So I think it's a very exciting time for well-placed or well-positioned for our myostatin program. We actually saw very good progress with this program in 2023, actually seeing both injectable and oral success of our compounds. And we're quite looking forward to maturing this further here in 2024. So On to slide 17, just highlighting the current status at the end of 2023 for the non-radio-pharmaceutical pipeline. As I mentioned, AZP3813 is in a phase 1 study, which will complete here in early 2024. The CD38 arm, our BHV1100, is partnered with Biohaven and continues in a phase 1A, 1B in cancer patients in the U.S. The COVID-19, the S2 protein inhibitor program, PA001, has also had conducted clinical research that was completed in 2022, now progressing toward IND. And then again, we made very good progress with our myostatin inhibitor program in 2023 and the announcement of the clinical candidate for the KIT inhibitor program. On the partner side, the BMS product, as we announced at the end of 2023 or late 2023, we will be discussing that further once we get the final results from the phase 1 study in the summer of this year and decide on next steps for that program. And then the announcement of the Merck initiation of the phase 1 start. So going forward into 2024 and beyond, quite excited to see what will happen with the GHR antagonist program. We're expecting the phase 1 results to be completed here, and actually expecting this to progress into a phase 2, anticipating this progressing forward into a phase 2 program. The multiple myeloma program with CD38, of course, we continue to see progress that continues to be tested in patients, which has had slow recruiting of patients, in part due in the past because of corona. And these patients require basically bone marrow transplants or bone marrow ablation before receiving this treatment. But the patient recruitment seems to be expanding for that program, we think. And then the COVID program, seeing this program progress forward into phase 1 study, a safety study in 2024. And this program has now been funded in part by AMED for PepDA to take this program forward. Expecting large developments in the myostatin inhibitor space here in 2024, exciting time for this program. And then the c-KIT program, Modulus is actually looking toward potentially partnering this program out. So we are hoping for announcements around that in the 2024 timeframe. We have a number of additional programs, of course, ongoing, both in-house and across the wide variety of partners that we look forward to announcing as we are able to do. We think this, so we can go to the next slide. Yeah, this very robust collaboration partnerships and preclinical pipeline is going to continue to serve as an engine for programs to advance into the clinical stage for us going forward, and provides a large degree, of course, of revenue or growth drivers for the company going forward. So as it listed in the slide 19, we continue to see significant excitement, of course, in the PDC space, beyond even RI PDCs. Again, the other applications of using peptides as a targeting vector is at an all-time high. The excitement, I think, around peptide therapeutics, specifically the oral delivery of peptide therapeutics, which we've made exceptional progress on, and the field has made exceptional progress on, continues to be a highly promising use. And I think there's more interest in this than ever before. And then we have additional, of course, spaces in the protein degradator space, and also in our T cell and NK cell engager space, which is another area that I think has exceptional future promise to deliver a number of exciting potential therapeutic products here. So we continue to see this interest in these programs driving new deals for us. In addition to that, as programs progress, receiving milestone fees for those partner programs as they progress. Our own internal efforts, as is shown here, the myostatin inhibitor, the KIT inhibitor program, and other in-house programs, as these advance, we're also expecting to see future growth here in the out-licensing fees of those existing programs to be a major contributor for us. And then, of course, one of the largest contributors for future revenue expansion or growth will be around programs actually finally reaching to market and product launch and attaining the royalties and commercial sales milestones associated with those agreements. So we think we're on a very, very good trajectory for the non-radiopharmaceutical part of our business, and very much looking for good news here to come in 2024. In part around this section 22 is we've established ourselves. I think PeptiDream has largely established ourselves as a drug discovery powerhouse, certainly as one of the go-to companies for the discovery of peptides. There still is not that many peptide discovery companies out there. We continue to focus on really how to increase the deal size associated with these programs by expanding and adding additional data to the programs to then either license those out or the partnership programs to see those advancing forward. So we've seen the financials, of course, of the deals we've done over the last couple of years just continuing to increase toward the positive side. And we're really focused on advancing as many programs as possible into the clinical stage. So I do think this is going to be a robust engine for us to continue to deliver clinical stage programs going forward. On slide 21 is just to highlight or review our equity holdings. We have, of course, stakes in PeptiAid, in PeptiGrowth. PeptiGrowth made significant strides forward with 2 additional products launched in 2023, with more to come here in 2024. We also have equity stakes in PeptiStar. As I announced, we have a new equity stake in LinkMed from our strategic partnership with them here in the late 2023. And then our position in Reid Bio, again, post-acquisition, this equity stake we will be submitting our shares in the tender offer, of course, and this will close out here in 2024. And then we have an equity stake in our strategic partner, Modulus, in addition to PDR Radio-pharma, of course, being a fully owned subsidiary of PeptiDream. As we look toward the next stage of revenue growth for the company, the business with the combined PDR Radio-pharma PeptiDream business, the group has largely, I think, roughly the 30 billion yen in revenue has sustained a nice foundation here. We're now looking to take the next step up into the 30 to 50 billion yen annual revenue mark. This year, we forecast a revenue of 35 billion yen, which represents another step forward, I think, in revenue growth of our company, with the long-term view of the 5 to 7 years of getting toward the 100 billion yen in revenue level. And again, we're anticipating that will largely be driven by products that we have in the pipeline actually reaching the market and contributing through the royalty. So we've largely moved from, I think, the peptide the company being just a platform business to now what we're describing more as a platform plus portfolio, or more of a hybrid business model, where we have a fully integrated radiopharmaceutical business also tied to an exceptionally strong discovery powerhouse. So I think the future of PeptiDream is extremely promising, and we're very much looking forward to this year and the years to come. On slide 23, just to touch on some of the breakdown for the 2024 forecast for us, as I mentioned, it's 35 billion yen for the revenue. We're anticipating a core operating profit of 10.9 billion yen with an operating profit of 10.5 billion yen, representing roughly a 1.5x increase from the 2023 fiscal year, and a relatively significant jump in net income to 7.3 billion yen for the 2024 year. And the contributions of both the radiopharmaceutical business and also the non-radiopharmaceutical business will be integral parts of these forecasts for the coming year. And lastly, it's just we continue to make solid efforts across our sustainability and ESG metrics. Key initiatives. Some of our key initiatives, of course, are listed on the far left. We've had 3 consecutive years of achieving carbon neutrality across the peptidarium operations, which is, I think, a very good thing. And we continue to strengthen our HR systems to keep the very best of corporate culture and promotion of employees and retention of employees, while also looking to strengthen both our corporate and management aspects of the business. And that is translating, of course, into increased and better ratings or scores in regards to these metrics. 2023 was, we had solid scores across the board for the Dow Jones Sustainability Index, the MSCI ESG ratings, the FTSE Russell, the CDP, and the Sustainalytics scores for our business. And this has translated into peptidarium, of course, being included as a constituent of the FTSE for Good Index, the FTSE Blossom Japan Index. So we think this is, of course, very much a positive for the business, and continue to focus our efforts on increasing all of these aspects. So